Hello everybody, this is Andy at Thomann, and I am sat next to Billy F Gibbons. How you doing?
No problem here, man. We've just arrived here at Thomann. Took a quick tour. This is an amazing place, something that everybody should stop in and see. It's really something.
Yeah, we've been to the shop. We've genuinely been shopping.
Yeah, oh yeah.
I think you're going to go home with a handful of things that you want to buy, so we've been pedal shopping.
I've ordered the next car, so it'll be here shortly.
Cool. I'm glad you did. You are here, we're talking about Magnatone Amps, which are just behind us here.
We love the Magnatone. Why don't we start by taking a little bit of the history. Magnatone started in 1937 and went into the early 70s, and then it was pretty much left for the taking, and fortunately our good friend Ted picked up the pieces and has come up with one of the most amazing sounding amplifiers in recent times. And as you know, there is I call it the brown covered vintage style.
Mm-hmm, yeah.
The black versions are a little more hot rod, but it's a great product line.
Yeah, I was introduced to the Magnatones by Chris, our other YouTube host, and he showed me the one with the stereo tremolo, and it just blew my mind. How clean those sounds were, but how beautiful the sound was.
Well, the beauty of Magnatone was the preservation of that unusual true pitch shifting vibrato. They have tremolo on board, but the Magnatone pitch shifting, that vibrato is probably the characteristic personality of the amp, and it's there.
Yeah, it's a different sound. It's somehow new, but also familiar. Are you playing those currently when you're touring?
We're using this new version, all tube. Of course, the vibrato is an option. If you want it, you can order it. We like it. It's the sound that was so popular with the Magnatone line. But we're getting along quite famously for both guitar, bass. We're even doing some keyboard work through the Magnatone line. And it goes without saying, when the sound is right, when you got that tone that's right in the pocket, there's no reason to stop.
Cool. It's a good reason. You also got a harp going through that one down there? Yeah,
well, this is the newest rendition of Magnatone, the little 15-watt single 12, but it has master volume. You can really make that preamp stand up and bark. I like it. We've been using, of course, the Hohner Harmonica. I was able to actually locate one of the original Hohner blues harp bullet microphones from Hohner, but it's so handy. Small, compact. It's lightweight, but it packs a punch. It's really good. And while we're speaking of, Hohner has expanded their line, and I've taken to the original, the Marine Band, and at the same time they've got such a wide range of products for those that like that blues sound. Don't forget your Hohner harmonica.
Do you ever have issues with, as a bearded man, playing a harmonica?
Every once in a while we get a little stuck in line. It depends on what's left over from lunch.
Of course. I hope you don't mind, Billy, but I'd like to change gears a little bit. I had some cards printed with some questions on with the Thomann logo, because interviews can get a little bit stale, so I thought I'd let you choose the questions.
We'll take this one.
Okay. Would you like me to read it, or do you want to read it out yourself?
Go ahead. Yeah.
Okay, a very positive start. Which band or artist, dead or alive, would play at your funeral?
Well, it's no secret. ZZ Top has quite followed one of our favorite bands to this day, the Rolling Stones. And having become friends with their band and ours over the years, we all tend to go back to the beginning of the great American art form artists, those guys that originated the blues. And if we could bring them back, we'd take Jimmy Reed, Howlin' Wolf, Muddy Waters, Albert King, Freddie King, B.B. King. The list goes on and on. Let's have them all.
Burger King. Yeah, so maybe we could talk about that at the moment. I heard a rumour, or I don't know if it's a fact, that Hendrix taught you how to play Foxy Lady, the intro.
Oh yeah, that was...
I was going to ask you if you would teach me.
I sure can.
Wow.
The recorded version is in F sharp. But when we learned it, the opening position was on the 12th fret, which would be more like E, and you take a third string and there it is. Maybe a little...
Give it a bit more juice, maybe.
Yeah. So a third string, and you just let the finger hit the second string, B string.
Okay. I'm a bit cleaner than you.
That's it. That's it. You got it. Third string on the 12th fret, and then you'll let the B string resonate. We got it.
Oh, you had that little moment there. Wow. Okay, I'm truly honoured, Billy. Thank you for that. I was that was my wish list for this video, was to ask you to do that for me. And in order to say thanks, I want to give you a gift, if I may. I heard that you are a big fan of hot sauces.
Oh my God.
So I found you a hot sauce from Bavaria, which is where we are now in Germany. And my friend Gavin explained that hot sauce would be something to give you as a gift.
I'll take it.
So that's for you. We also have...
BBQ hot. This is going to be great.
So you were talking about your Weisswurst earlier with some sweet sauce.
Of course.
Maybe you can try this.
Next to the hot Hohner Harmonica. Speaking of hot sauce, don't leave the house without keeping your special secret stash down here.
This man has pockets everywhere. The first time I met you, we were giving out gifts, and thank you so much for the ZZ Top keychain. But you have business cards and hot sauce. I'm wondering, like, there's a rabbit or maybe some handkerchiefs?
That's later.
That's later. Okay, that's after the hot sauce. Wonderful. I want to talk to you about the stuff you're doing at the moment with the Big Bad Blues.
Yes, we started way back in 2015. There was a phone call that arrived with an invitation to go play at the jazz festival in Havana, Cuba. The Havana Jazz Festival, now many years in the annual event. And on the way to the studio, I stopped at a small restaurant called Sal y Pimienta, Salt and Pepper. And when I showed up at the studio, the engineer said, well, what are we going to do? What are we starting off? I said, well, phone call, Cuba, restaurant, Cuban. I've got the business card, Sal y Pimienta, let's do a Cuban record. And that they knew I'd lost my mind. But we continued on, and later, John Burke from Concord Records, he picked up the pieces, he heard some of the tracks, and he said, this is quite interesting. He said, let's press onward. So we ended up building a band to take to Cuba. We had our two favorite girl drummers, Melanie and Sozo. We had Mike Flanagan on B3, Gigi Martin on keyboards. We had Alex and Elwood handing the chores of the congas and the turntables. It was quite the affair. the success of that record, Perfectamundo was the title. Following Perfectamundo, John Burke said, you know, we've had a great success. He said, this is something very surprising, but let's continue the surprise. How about playing some blues? I said, well, that's where we started, and that's where we stand today. So from Perfectamundo comes the second solo work called The Big Bad Blues. And it's one of our favorites. We just had a blast. I was able to enlist a lot of great players. Greg Morrow, our main man from the backbeat, joined Matt Sorum. So I had two powerhouse drummers leading the charge. Joe Hardy was kind enough to offer his skills on bass. Our resident guitar technician, Elwood Francis, stepped up to the plate. He played some harmonica, and our good friend Morgan Frank from Hohner, he got wind of it, and he said, oh, let me send you down the newest in the blues line. So that prompted me to hire James Harmon came in. I played a little harmonica, but Mike Flanagan took to the piano. He stepped away from the Hammond B3 just for 5 minutes to give us some pretty nice tickling of the ivories. But it's basically, it's a lot of original material, but we had a couple thrown in. We covered a couple from Muddy Waters, and of course, our old-time favorite, Bo Diddley, stepped in. We did Crackin' Up and a tribute to his maraca player, Jerome Green, Bring It to Jerome.
Awesome.
So, yeah, we're having a blast, and looks like we're going to dive in and do something with Concord Records for maybe a third solo release, which is coming out. That will complement some of the tracks that we've been doing with ZZ Top, celebrating this 50th anniversary, kind of a surreal phrase. But by and large, things keep percolating, and we're just having a blast.
I think good music is good music.
Yeah, man.
And people should be enjoying that. I've been enjoying it, the freshness, but the familiarity again. And sometimes just the 3 chords, that's all you need, man.
Yeah, don't go to that 4th chord until you're ready to step up.
Speaking of which, of learning 4th chords, when I was learning guitar, one of my biggest influences was you in Back to the Future 3.
Aha.
Do you mind talking about that for a moment?
Yeah, it's no secret that we made a surprise appearance in Back to the Future 3. Bob Zemeckis was the director, and he insisted that we create the theme song for this third in the trilogy. And with that invitation, the demand that ZZ Top show up at the location was out in California. We went up north, and on our arrival, we showed up during the lunch break, and there was no one really to receive us, so we started moseying around the lot, and I heard later Bob Zemeckis turned to his assistant, Bob Gale. He said, hey Bob, who are those guys in my corral? And he said, well, Bob, he said, that's ZZ Top. You've hired them to write the theme song, and you insisted that they show up, and there they are. He said, well, are those beards real? He said, I think they are. He said, let's get them in the picture. We can save a little bit on makeup. So we became the town band.
There was like a hoedown scene where I remember that intro with the kicking of the foot.
Of course.
And the very famous guitar spin.
Yeah, at the last minute, everybody kind of took to it. We were actually on stage with another group of musicians, and the camera jammed. So there was this rather extended lull, and we started kind of picking around. And after about 45 minutes of playing, I turned and I said, hey, Bob, I said, are they going to fix this camera? I said, we're ready to He said, oh no, the camera was fixed 30 minutes ago. We just enjoy watching you guys play.
Awesome.
It was quite the experience getting Michael J. Fox, Mary Steenburgen, the whole gang. It was just a great collision of lots of fun.
Yeah. And the guitar strap that you used, was it custom made?
Yes.
You spin the guitar around like a 360, or somebody does in the band.
Yeah, well, we've loaned it now to Buddy Guy's bass player.
Really?
He's actually, he's making much of the spinning guitar lives on.
Good.
Yeah.
That's really, really cool. I'm glad of that. Maybe we could talk more about one of your songs on the album is Missin Yo Kissin.
Oh, yes. The lead track. We had done maybe, I think 4 or 5 completed sessions, and my lovely sweetheart Gilligan showed up at the studio, and Mr. Hardy and Mr. G.L. G-Main Moon, the 2 engineers, they turned to me and they said, you better hide your credit card. Gilligan is out there scribbling away, looking at what appears to be a Chanel catalog. And later she took a break. She went somewhere off the studio lot, and as we were going into the main room, Mr. Hardy and Mr. Moon said, gee whiz, this looks rather interesting. She was not going Gucci, Prada, Chanel. She was actually writing something. Let's put some music to it. So Missin Yo Kissin was the title. It was actually a result of returning stateside. We had left Europe, and as we boarded the plane, I was in hot water. A young lady got on the row in front of us carrying not 1 but 2 Chanel bags, and I had purposely avoided passing the Chanel boutique in the airport, but it did lead to an interesting second verse. Well, Chanel will do, gonna get you 2, on a metal plane, I'm black, white, and blue. But I was missing her kissing until I took her to the Chanel boutique, so that's another story.
So you got a song out of it.
Yeah.
That's all it cost you, was a Chanel bag?
Yeah, and I actually got to play the famous Hohner harmonica on that track.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
It's a really powerful sound.
Yeah. I did a take. Elwood Francis came aboard. He put his 2 cents worth in, but all in all, that solo release, The Big Bad Blues, has turned out to be a real favorite.
I wonder if you'd do the honor if you could play some of Missin Yo Kissin for us.
Oh, you know, it's kind of a, I start with the little guitar figure. It's not too far off from one of our long-standing favorites, LaGrange. The main riff, so you get a little bit of standard vintage ZZ thrown in with, you know, I don't know where to take this. We could go on forever of our favorite blues guys.
Yeah, sure.
But it all comes down to feeling, and once you get in that groove, don't let it go. It's waiting. It's there for the taking. All you got to do is dig in and find it.
One of the things to keep talking about that song, if you haven't heard it, then please go and listen to it now, or after this video, but every time I was playing it with Julia, our bass player, I wanted to go to that E, and the song wouldn't let me.
Yeah, we've got a funny thing about the turnaround. We try to avoid it. There's another song from the Big Bad Blues release that never gets out of the 1. You know, we left the 3 behind, the 4's out, that go to the 5. No, it's right down the middle, staying on the 1.
Sometimes it's all you need. You're currently touring?
We're touring. 2019 brought around a real interesting point in time. celebrating 50 years with ZZ Top. It's a phrase that carries this surrealistic element to it. It doesn't seem real, but we're enjoying it. We still get to do what we like getting to do.
Yeah, it's a very lucky position to be in.
Yeah, it's the most appealing moment is when we get on. We have 3 separate buses. You know, someone said, "How did you manage to stay together for this 5 decades?" It's quite simple. Separate buses.
That's the secret.
And when we get together, it's a new day, and we get to get back to thrashing and doing what we enjoy most.
Brilliant. And do you feel at home on stage, in the studio, or is it just all one big mishmash of fun?
Well, we keep it totally separate. The work we do on stage is quite different. The studio presents a real opportunity to get really serious and focused about tuning and timing. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And it comes down to those backbone pieces that bring all of the elements seem to fall into place. We were talking about getting in the groove. Timing and tuning will put you right in the pocket. That's the way to start it. And again, once you're there, just hang on, because it's going to take you for a ride.
Don't change the chord.
Don't change it.
Do you mind if we go to another one of these funny prepared questions?
Yeah, man.
And then we can round it up. Are you choosing for the middle kind of person?
I'm going to go...
You're going to go straight?
Yeah, staying a bit to the right here.
Okay. May I? Oh, I'm so glad you chose this one. This is the one that I read earlier. Okay. Billy Gibbons. If you were a wrestler, what would your entrance theme song be?
Well, we've got a song called "If I Was a Pharmacist." I'd think that would be. I think that would be a good theme song as a wrestler.
Okay.
You know, getting beat up, you're going to have to go see the doctor, and he's going to send you to the pharmacist.
There we go. Brilliant, fantastic. Billy, thank you so much for your time today.
Quite a pleasure.
I hope you've enjoyed yourself at Thomann.
We can leave with some pleasantries. If you have the opportunity when you're passing through Bavaria, do not miss the opportunity to go by Thomann. It is quite the spot. You're going to dig it. Have mercy.